Yo. Hey, have you ever thought about selling your home and wondered about what that process is like? And well, I'm here with my man, David Fields. We're here at, where are we at?
Content Club Chicago.
Contact Club Chicago. David is with Ben Lau's team. I'm with the Mark Buckner Group. And we want to take a little time and chat about what was our most challenging listing.
That's right.
Who's going first, Fields?
I'll toss it to you. You know,
You
you're on a
toss
roll.
it to me?
You're on
All
a
right,
roll.
all right. So my most challenging one is one of my best friends who, big shout out to him. I love him. He has the biggest heart. And so he's CEO of a community agency for helping folks. And they got an opportunity to do some housing program, and it went really well for a while, and then they had a shift, and these guys aren't property managers, so they inherited these two flats on the east side, on the kind of near west side of the city, and so we had three of them. I picked them up a year ago. The first one had a tenant in there who was super cool, worked for the agency, so we moved him out, and it was easy to sell that one. And then we try to cross-sell the other ones with tenants in there, and I know you know if you're trying to sell a two-flat and an investor's buying it for themselves, ideally we want those tenants out, right? Well, we did the open house and we did a cross-sell, so we had one on the market and then we were cross-selling the other two. The first open house, the tenant came out, and I understand where he's at because this guy's not paying rent, so he's gonna be homeless, right? So I get where he's coming from, but he comes out clowning, takes my sign, my for sale sign, throws it in the street. I have tons of people out there. I mean, it's tense. He's yelling, he's screaming. So like, all right, we cancel that open house. We cancel the listing after a while. Talk to my client and we talk about, so what's the best step? Like really, we need to evict him. He's not paying rent. No one wants to inherit this problem, but he doesn't want to do it, because he's really invested. It goes against their grain. Their goal is to help people, right? And here we're going to go against what their whole mission is. So he wants to figure out a solution how we can move him out. So I work with some of his case managers from his office to find a place for them to live. And I was like, well, let's incentivize them, right? We'll give like 50%, give them security deposit. Let's get them into a place. So we give up, I don't know, a certain amount of money, so we get him into an apartment. But this guy's raising like he has 2 full pit bulls and 2 pups in the apartment. So he moves out, but he leaves the dogs there.
Oh, God.
So now I've got to try showing this 2-flat with the dogs there, which is not going well.
Oh, my
So
God.
we take it off again, and then I'm just like, when we can get these dogs out, we'll do it. Meanwhile, somebody else finds it on the market, you know, like, so like in case you don't know, like when you get a canceled listing or you cancel your listing, like everybody starts blowing you up, blowing up that seller, and then some people start blowing up me. So a wholesaler gets involved and has like 4 people who are interested. He puts it under contract. So we go through this process again, trying to get the dogs out, get someone who can move the dogs into rooms so we can start showing the building.
Yeah.
Anyways, tenant comes back. Now he's moved back in. Something happened and he screwed it up. He screwed up the apartment that we got him. Now he won't move out. He starts yelling and screaming. We call the police because in theory he's trespassing.
Right.
The police get him to leave. Meanwhile, he lets his cousin starting to live in the 2nd floor.
Oh, my God. I didn't know that this was going this deep.
It just goes on and on and on. So finally, my friend takes steps, we evict him, and he just got evicted. And I relisted it literally like a week ago, set it all up for an open house. And the property manager and the seller got a little miscommunication. They were going to board up 90% of the building except for the front door. Well, they boarded up the whole building. We have 10 groups out there. I had a medical issue, so I was in the ER. And then the guy who was going to cover for me, he's like, we can't get in. All these people are standing there. So I had to temp it again. And now I'm going on the market. We went on the market today. Open house Friday, open house Saturday. I am determined to sell this thing. This is 12 months in.
Oh my God, that is a nightmare. I mean, my story is not going to be able to top that. That's
you told me to go first.
Jeez, I can't follow that. That's insane. I mean, you've had pretty much every issue that you could possibly have.
Yeah.
Multifamily's tough, especially with tenants and dogs, and people are upset, and you have people that might be homeless.
Yep.
It's like, I feel for those people,
Yep.
but at the same time,
Yep.
we got to sell the property, right?
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
it's putting other people in tough financial situations. So that's a tricky balance.
It's a community agency. And so here we have a property that's really just costing them money.
Right.
We had a water leak, so the water was running. We have taxes to pay. We have no one paying anything on the building. The buildings continuously deteriorate. So we have a good asset that's pretty valuable to them, and we're just throwing good money at a bad situation. So
That's tough.
The old story, you have to clean out the closet, make a mess before you can reorganize it.
Yep.
And that's kind of like the situation with this property.
Yeah.
So it'll eventually work out. We did find that person another place to live. We did evict him, but still found a place, and we'll get it sold and get the money to the agency so they can help more families and more kids in the city, which is ultimately the goal. But it's been a real roller coaster. And meanwhile, so many buyers are really interested in it, and they're all just frustrated and think like, I'm acting as a negligent broker when really I'm really trying my best.
Yeah, that's never good. Never good to get that, to have buyers upset at the end of the day.
So what do you got for me?
Okay, so my most difficult listing was actually the first listing I ever got. Surprise, surprise.
Wow.
I've had a couple difficult ones along the way, but that one is kind of the one that pops into mind when I think of a difficult listing. So at the time I was doing a lot of rentals. I was working alongside a property management company. They also managed some condos. So this was an investment where there was tenants in there.
Yeah.
So basically that investor was like, hey, I want to take my money and put it elsewhere. So it was, I got tapped, hey, Fields, go list this condo. So it was a 2-bed, one bath in Westridge. And I show up, for the first day just to take a look at what's going on over there. And I knock on the door, and they open the door, and man, the tenants, it was a small 2-bed, and there was probably like 7 or 8 people in there. Like, I don't know if it was all one family or what the situation was.
They're all living there. We're not just having a party. We're not smoking a bunch of weed, drinking a bunch of beer.
I wish that was the case. No, it looked like they were all living there. There's 3 mattresses in each bedroom, and then people in the main living spaces. So there's a lot of people living there, and I was like, man, this is gonna be tough. This is gonna be a tough one. So, at that point, we kind of went through and got the photos that we could, working with the tenants, doing the best that we can.
So did you get them to move their beds, pick stuff up?
We tried, we cleaned up as best as we could. There was also a big language barrier. So
Sure.
When I showed up, I don't know if they might have thought I owned it. I wasn't sure, everyone was a little on different pages. So we go through and we get some photos and try to list this property, and it just looks terrible. And the tenants are really difficult to work with. As you know, tenants can be tough, right? 48 hours notice, the door's locked, the keys go missing, all the above, right?
Yeah.
So we listed, and after a while, it became clear that we're gonna need to wait for these people to get out of here before we really sell this place, just because it wasn't doing it justice. It looked terrible. We could never get in. Buyers were frustrated, similar to your situation. So we waited till they left. They moved out. They moved
Didn't
out.
have to force them out.
Yeah, I mean, they were nice people. It's just the situation was not great. So they moved out, and then we came through, and we go through to get photos. Right, I show up with the photographers. We had the place cleaned. It looked good, and then we go to open the door, and I see about 1 million cockroaches. And you turn on the lights, and they just scatter everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God. So we did our best, the best we could with the photos. We got some pretty good photos, but I was like, man, I got to get this place treated ASAP. And listen, this investor is he's gone, right? He doesn't care. He doesn't respond to my emails. He just wants it sold. He wants to take the money and put it somewhere else. So he's just do whatever you got to do. So yeah, I basically like had to manage this vacant property. I had to get it treated. I don't even know how many times I got that place bombed and all kinds of stuff. And every time they just kept coming back.
Oh my God.
Yeah, brutal. So like, you know, we start doing showings. I got it treated. We got it under control somewhat. And we start doing showings and, you know, it just takes forever. And it's just sitting on the market and, you know, there wasn't much to do really. Like, he didn't want to spend money if we're going to do staging or things like. He didn't want to.
He didn't want to invest in anything.
No. He wanted to be done. He didn't want to be a landlord anymore. He wanted to get his money and he wanted to go. So, you know, over time, again, it was my first listing. So like, I probably didn't do a great job. I didn't really know what I was doing. You know what I mean? Like, I was a rental guy before that. So I was really learning on the job. And man, I learned a lot of tough lessons from that listing.
That's a tough listing.
Yeah,
that's
it was tough. But, you know, I'm glad the first one was tough, right? Because if it was too easy, then I might have.
You're right about that. Yeah. You're right about that.
My expectations would be that like, this job's easy. But to have a tough one to start, I think was a good gut check.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we ended up selling it. Long story short, you know, someone got a pretty good deal there.
So we had some challenging tenants. We had some challenging infestation of roaches.
Oof, man.
And then we had to sell something that's vacant.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you got some awesome coaching from the team.
So I actually wasn't on the team at that point. Otherwise, it probably would have been a lot smoother.
We got to clear that up because BLT, man.
Yeah, this is pre-BLT.
All right.
Yeah, but it was, you know, and honestly, at the time, I wasn't around a lot of seasoned brokers.
Okay, so you really were flying on your own.
Yeah, so like there was really no one that was focusing on residential that I could turn to and be like, what do I do? Like, you know, I was kind of just figuring out as I went. So that made it a lot tougher. Like I said, I learned a lot of good lessons on that one.